Well, let's go ahead and draw up the CAD Quiz 2 two-dimensional drawing for you here. We'll start out on Inventor with a new part file. Our dimensions are all in US customary, so we'll use English template, standard IPT in inches. Create that. And two-dimensional, we'll just start a 2D sketch, and I'm going to choose the XY plane. I do want to make sure that all parts of that drawing are constrained to the drawing axis. So I want to make a little plan as to how I'm going to proceed. I'm going to start out with the two circles in the center area of that object, the idler plate's what it's called. We'll put those right on the origin. We should be able to keep everything constrained as we draw. So let's see, that smaller circle to begin with has a diameter of 1.125. So we'll enter that in place. Zoom down just a bit and put the bigger one in. And it is 1.75. Alrighty. Now, when to zoom out just a little bit, I'm going to move over to the right side of the drawing, and we'll put in some circles that'll later be trimmed down to arcs. Create that kind of a arc-shaped slot. Well, to connect that part of the drawing to the origin, we're going to use construction lines. So I'll click on my line tool, my construction toggle. We'll snap the first end right on the origin. We want to pull that out to a specific dimension. You've got a dimension on the activity sheet. 2.312. Let's type that in. 2.312. Alright. So that's going to draw that construction line in for you. So at the end of that, and you'll see that that is constrained also, it's blue. So at the end of that line, let's go ahead and snap onto that a circle. And this will be the small circle. Like I say later, that'll be trimmed to an arc. The arc size dimension is 0.438. But to draw a circle, we actually need a diameter, which would be twice the size of that radius. So I'm going to multiply that radius, use the ampersand button, times 2. We'll have a circle formed. Oh, you can see what I did there. I forgot to turn off my construction line toggle. So I'm going to have to OK to get out of that circle tool. Let's go ahead and do a right click on that circle and click the construction line toggle that comes out there. That'll turn this back into an object line. Now on your screen, you're going to want to click in an open spot and turn off that construction line toggle so you don't have that problem again. Now, to complete the top portion of that little arced slot here, let's draw another construction line. So I guess I need to get that construction line toggle going again. This time we've got an angled construction line. 40-degree angle is what the dimension tells us. That line is going to be the same length as the previous construction line, 2.312. And then we can toggle over to our degree of angle by clicking on the tab key. And we'll set that up for a 40-degree angle. There we go. Right click and OK that. So at the end of that line, we'll go ahead and put a circle up. Don't forget to turn off the construction line toggle. That'll be the same size circle as the last one, which would be a, well, we typed in 0.438 for a radius, and then we multiplied that times 2 to get our diameter. There we go. Now, those two circles are connected with arcs. I've usually had pretty good luck using a center point arc. So click on the bottom drop down of your arc tool, click on the center point arc. The reason I'm using that is because we have those arcs centered on the origin. So I'm going to click on the origin for my center point. I think I'll zoom in just a little bit and make sure I hit that intersection point right on the edge of the lower circle. And then I can drag the arc up for the second endpoint on the upper circle. Uh-oh, tells me I'm having a problem solving that for some reason. So I think instead of the arc as a solution, I'm going to change and use a circle. So let's use a circle. Again, center point on the origin. Drag that out to the intersection with that first small circle. There we go. Hey, it took it. Really nice. Now we got a great big circle though. We only want the arc, so let's hit the trim tool and trim it out. Now you'll notice the remaining arc, and that's what we want, but it's not constrained. Let's go in our constraint tools, find our tangent, and we're going to set up to click on that arc in the top circle to make it tangent. We do see the little tangent tool show up, or tangent icon. And looks like it's constrained now, but I'm going to double check. Click on the arc in the bottom circle, and the warning comes up, tells me yes indeed it is already constrained, and it has turned blue. That's wonderful. I'm going to give that that center point arc one more try here for the outside of that, for the outside line on that. Nope, not going to let me do it. So let's go back to the circle, center point, out to the far edge. Uh-oh, we're not making it here. Let's do this. Let's just take it out a little bit beyond circles, and let's use the tangent constraint tool. So tangent constraint tool, click on the big circle, click on the small circle. There she is. And that circle obviously is now constrained. Trim tool to trim out all the part of that big circle we don't need. We're good to go. While we've got the trim tool, let's go ahead and trim out the inside portions of these smaller circles that we don't need. That's not letting me do that. We'll come back to that later. Let's go over to the left side of the drawing. Again, let's connect the left side of that drawing with the construction line. In fact, I'm going to draw two construction lines. First one will start at the origin. Let's just bring it out a distance, a horizontal line. I don't know exactly how far out this is going to go, but that's going to be the center point for one of my circles. I'm just going to click it in, and then I'm going to draw a second second construction line. That'll be the construction line between the centers, the two centers on that slot on the left hand side. That slot should be 1 inch between those two centers, so I'm going to type in 1 inch. So we've got that one set. Now we do have a big dimension. I see it running across the top, or across the bottom of your assignment sheet. 5.804. It's the distance between the far left center and the far right center. So let's use the dimension line. Let's carefully find the end point on the left, on that last construction line. and we'll dimension to the center or the end of that first construction line, and we'll go ahead and set that dimension at the proper size, 5.804. There we go. Now what that did for you is that set this distance of this center line, of this construction line right here. Those lines, let's go ahead now and put a couple circles there. Smaller ones are radius of 0.437. Again, we're making circles, so let's multiply that times 2. Oh, there I go again. Forgot my construction line toggle. Change your back. And then the second one over here. .437 multiplied times 2. Bingo. Now let's zoom in on that little area and go ahead and create the straight lines that go between the two, tangent lines in fact. We should be able to hit a snap point at every 90 degrees on the circles, and that should pretty much set those up as a tangent, but it didn't. They're not constrained, so we'll have to use our tangent constraint tool. Let's go ahead and get the tangent line across the top. That one we did come up constrained. So let's get that tangent constraint tool, and we'll make sure that that line is tangent to both circles, here and here. Got it. Now it's constrained. Let's get the trim tool. We'll trim out the insides portion of those circles, so now we've got the arc set up the way we want them. We'll do the exact same thing here with the outside. So the larger circles, we've got a radius there of 3/4 inch. I can figure that in my head. That diameter would be 1.5. 2 of those. We'll get our tangent line across the top and bottom. Those both snapped in, so we've got nice and tangent there. We'll trim out the parts of the circles we don't need. Be real careful that you get it all. You can zoom in if you have to. Alright, we got it on the run here. We've got one circle up toward the top. Actually, there's a couple circles. They're concentric. Let's just pick a spot out here somewhere. And let's draw that smaller circle in. It's got a diameter of 0.75. Now it's not going to be constrained at this point in time, and we're not going to use any kind of a construction line yet. We're just going to use dimensions to constrain it back to the origin. So let's start out, we'll constrain it horizontally to the origin, right off of our right off our first line. So that horizontal distance would be 3/4 inch. We also need to constrain it vertically, same point, and that distance is 1.875. We're getting all these dimensions right off your assignment sheet for the quiz. There we go. Now, we should be able to put another circle there. 1.625.